Alabama's playoff hopes on the line this week and every week. Do they finally get right? I refuse to pick that, Andrew, because I've just seen too much from this Alabama team to think. I think they're winning the football game. I think Missouri's covering, though, because I don't think Missouri's a great team, but I haven't seen Alabama play great football in, over a month at this point since the Wisconsin game? Like, that's the last time they looked like, well, the Georgia game, perhaps, in which in the second half they completely imploded. So first half of Georgia is the last time we've seen Alabama truly play to their full potential. I don't know why I'd feel confident that happens this week. Maybe it's because they're at home. I'll take Bama to win. Missouri covers 27-20.
Knowing that the outlook on Brady Cook's ability to go in this game is not looking great. Have you been seeing that? I
have, but my reservations about Alabama, I actually think their defense has taken steps forward. My reservations are about the offense. That Jalen Milroe is throwing interceptions all over the field. Red zone, non-red zone, over the middle, down the sideline, one-on-one, whatever. Like, he just still looks like he's forcing the issue too hard.
I'm with you on that, but I think at home they're going to be able to score enough points to where this line to me, so this line's -17 in favor of Bama. If Brady Cook is not injured, what would your guess for that line be in this football game? You just ballpark guess.
If he's not injured?
Yeah, fully healthy.
Before the season, it was around 8. After the season gets underway, it was probably around 10 to 12.
Okay. I'll be honest with you. We're going to go from just disagreeing slightly on our first game to disagreeing by a wider margin here.
Okay.
I think now 17 is a darn big spread, Spencer. It's a big spread for a 15 versus 21 matchup. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not going to say they cover, but I'm going to say they're right there to where it's I think they win this game like by 14 points, a 34-20 type of football game. I saw enough of that backup quarterback when he was in for Cook last week that I just don't know if I'm buying it. I don't think we're going to leave this game going, heck yeah, Bama's great again, but I think that they're going to win this game. I just think without Cook, and that's the vibe I'm getting, I don't think he'll be out there. I think Bama handles business in this one.
Alabama has not beaten a team by double digits since Wisconsin. That was back in week 3. But we'll see if that changes. Continuing along with the SEC picks, how about Texas? Andrew, what is your upset gauge with them going to number 25, Vanderbilt?
Say it again.
Vanderbilt is done catching strays on this podcast. They might still catch them on others, but they're done, at least for this season. I mean, holy smokes. I had Jordan Rodgers on at SEC Media Days before the year, and I've had to apologize to him here on the show because I was dogging Vandy all year. And Vandy is not just a fun story, Andrew. They're a pretty darn good football team. Yeah. I don't think Texas covers here either. This line, according to our friends at FanDuel, has been hovering in the 18.5 range. Mm-hmm. I think Texas wins. They're the better, more talented team. I think they bounce back on the road, but I don't think it's as easy as Longhorn fans would like it to be. So give me Texas 27-17.
I think that the Cinderella story of Vandy football has been a fun one. And if you disagree, go kick rocks because, man, it's been fun. That's my opinion here. Here's my take on this one. I don't think that this game is ever going to feel close. But then you look at the final score and you went, oh, yeah, I put Vandy plus 18.5 in my parlay. Oh, they lost by 17. Cool. I think it's that type of game. It's never going to feel like Vandy's in it. I think Texas wins it. I'm trying to think of a score for you where it's 17. But I think that Vandy covers barely in this game. Never feels like they're in the game. But I'll tell you this. I don't know if I'm buying the upset meter here, but Diego Pavia is never going into a football game thinking he's going to lose.
Nope.
I'll leave you with that.
No, he most certainly is not. And, I mean, I think at this point we should dub him king of Alabama football with what he's done to those two SEC programs in the last 2 years. I mean, that guy's a giant killer, and Texas is a giant at the moment, and Steve Sarkisian's looking for a bounce back. I think they'll be able to figure it out. Turns out Georgia, very good at football, which surprised a lot of people. Not me. I thought Georgia would win the football game. But moving on here in the SEC, let's go to the bottom of the league. Teams that are searching for a win, any sort of good feeling. Our poor friend and boss, Zach Blackerby of Locked On Auburn, has just got to be going through it because Auburn is yet to win an SEC football game. Somehow, they just keep inventing new ways to lose. They're on the road against Kentucky here, Andrew, after blowing it against Missouri last week. They had every opportunity to win, and they found a way to lose. I feel the same way about Auburn in the negative that I feel about Alabama covering big spreads or Indiana winning football games. I refuse to stake my pick on something that I haven't seen and have no reason to feel confident that it could. So give me Kentucky to win this game. This is going to be an ugly one. Watch this, Andrew. 14-10, Kentucky wins.
Well, you've moved into my hometown now in this conversation. I am a Kentucky native. And I cover Kentucky as well. And what I can tell you with confidence is no one here cares. You know what happened last night? Mark Pope had his first basketball game, which means Kentucky football's done. No Kentucky fans listening here. Once again, I am a native of Lexington. Don't yell at me, but we all know it's true. I think Auburn is an awful good football team. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is they're awful, but they're good. In a way that if they can just, you look at the way they played this year, if they just put it together for 2 seconds against anybody, they could have won. Arkansas, Oklahoma, and then what was the one? Missouri. They in all honesty, probably should have won those 3 football games. You could argue.
Yep.
And they didn't. I just feel like, maybe it's a do factor, but I think they're a better football team than they've let on. And Peyton Thorne, believe it or not, in all honesty, hasn't been the issue of late. He's been playing a little bit better is what I'm saying. He's not turning it over like they did earlier in the year against your
aim low and achieve with that statement, but you are correct.
Yeah. And not saying, I'm not getting the Peyton Thorne for Heisman jokes out, but I think Auburn comes into Lexington against a fan base that's starting to check out. Because once again, we're getting close to that month of November, which you know what that means here in Lexington. I think Auburn wins a game that I recommend everyone here don't turn on, 17-10.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to be the most entertaining game of the weekend. We'll close with Arkansas, Mississippi State, and before we get to that, Oklahoma travels to Ole Miss as a close to 3 touchdown underdog. I saw in the Sooner fans, cover your ears here. I saw what I did find to be a rather humorous tweet that said, the funny part about Oklahoma going to the SEC being Nebraska to the Big Ten is that everyone saw it coming. And I thought, yeah, kind of did. And this is not a good first season in the SEC for Brent Venables and company, playing against an urgent Ole Miss team that, like Alabama's, got to win every week or they're not going to make the college football playoff. I don't know if Ole Miss covers 20. I'll throw Oklahoma fans a bone. 31-13. Ole Miss.
Here's the deal. Mr. Revenge of the Sith himself, Jackson Dart. Did you see what I'm talking about, Spencer?
No, but please expand. I need it.
Okay, you got to go find it because you'll love this. After they lost to LSU, he had on a black hoodie, and he already just a hair looks like Anakin Skywalker. Just a hair, right? He had on a black hoodie, and he was kind of bent down like this to where it was just barely above his eyes. And, he just kind of gives the, we control our own destiny. We can't lose another game or our playoff hopes are over. Revenge of the Sith. I think that Ole Miss wins this game. Do they cover 20? I don't think Ole Miss fans care. I think they care about a win. I think they win this game in that 14-17 to 21, 14 to 21 point range. Are you seeing it now?
Yeah.
There you go.
So hopefully he's not doing anything as nefarious as what Anakin Skywalker did with that hoodie over his face like that, because that was ugly. Yeah. But great movie. One of the best Star Wars films out there. But we'll close with Mississippi State against Arkansas. Hogs are favored by under a touchdown here, Andrew. And the reason is that if you've been an SEC sicko paying attention over the last few weeks, you know that Mississippi State is winless in the conference. They've only got one win on the year. They were blasted by Toledo. They, like Auburn, don't look quite as bad as the record indicates. I wonder if Arkansas doesn't have the disappointment factor from losing so handily against LSU last week. I'm going to do it, Andrew. I'm taking the upset. I think this is the one SEC win of the year for Mississippi State. Jeff Lebby's got that offense running at a pretty solid clip right now. I don't know how, but he's figured it out. I'm taking the Bulldogs 28-24.
I have a feeling, here's my prediction, and I'm going to agree with you on the win there. I was going to take Mississippi State, but what I will tell you is this. What I will tell you about this game is this. I have a feeling if there was an award at the end of every season, it was given out for the worst, best game of the year, I have a feeling this is going to be a candidate for the worst, best game of the year. Because going into it, it's supposed to be, well, who cares? It's Arkansas and Mississippi State. I think this is going to be a darn good football game. I think Mississippi State and Coach Lebby, get off of it. I think that they get their first SEC win of the Lebby era. I agree with you. They're better. The Toledo thing's inexcusable, but they've hung around some football games. They look solid. I think Van Buren is dealing. I think Mississippi State is gonna get the win, and I think they might have something in Van Buren, a player that we're talking about a good bit heading into next season.
When you hire a head coach and it's because it was not going well under the previous administration, in that head coach's first year, you keep expectations low, but you do look for like one moment or one game where you go, hey, if this guy can win that game, imagine once he gets some players in here. Yeah. Imagine once he gets a little bit more incorporated. Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State, great example. They went 3-9 last year. They almost beat Washington on the road, and they did beat UCLA. They had no business playing with either of those teams. Those were better teams, better coaches, a lot of people saw at the time who were more entrenched. I think this is going to be that moment. So how about that? The double upset of Mississippi State over Arkansas is how we're ending today's show. We'll see if we have to apologize to the Hogs later on. Andrew Stefaniak, Locked On, Texas A&M Aggies. Appreciate the time, my man. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.